Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. There was a recent bar citizen which brought with it some very interesting tidbits, so let us take a look at what was said. As always, a huge thank you to my patrons and channel members, in particular to my latest channel members, Russell, Serrano, and Brooke. Thank you all so much for the support. It is truly appreciated. So recently in Taipei, there was a bar citizen in which a few Star Citizen devs attended and took part in a Q&A. And a big thank you to Erad Prime for gathering and posting all of this information. I have linked his YouTube channel in the description below, so be sure to check him out and give him a follow. Now, before we get to it, the TOBII Tracker 5 is on sale again at 15% off, so now is a great time to pick one up, and I highly recommend using them. I use one every time I play Star Citizen, and they are brilliant. And using the link below will take you to that offer, plus it will provide my channel with a direct kickback, helping to support my work. So thank you so much in advance if you choose to do so. So firstly, in regards to ships in Star Citizen, when it comes to the resource network, which is the engineering system, it was said that this is intended to be primarily for multi-crew ships, and when 4.0 releases, which is expected around Q3 this year, 10 to 15 of the most popular ships will have the resource network set up. Now, as you can imagine, it will take some time to get all of the ships set up with the resource network, as there are many ships to get done, and every ship will support this management system, but not every ship will have a lot of gameplay associated with it. For example, single-seat ships like the Gladius will only have one engineering node, so it won't be as hands-on as, say, a larger ship where you're running around, pulling out relays and swapping components and so forth. So as somewhat expected, for smaller ships, there won't be as much to handle with a single engineering node, which is likely where all of the relays for that ship is going to be located. Of course, physical components and physical weapons will still be applicable, and so swapping and replacing those items will be necessary, but I do suspect that the majority of the management of the resources in single-seat ships, or just small ships in general, will be done via the MFDs, rather than a dedicated engineering station like we will see in multi-crew ships, which makes perfect sense and will still allow for you to tune and tweak various aspects for your ship to get the desired performance required for whatever it is you're doing, but it won't be running around and swapping out the relays in the middle of a battle. Now, in regards to the gold standard ship passes, there is not one definition for what a gold standard is, as each ship has a different vision for what gold standard means. And gold standard only means that ship has the latest ship and game technology available at that time applied to it. For example, right now gold standard pretty much means that the ship has maybe the resource network or inventory lockers set up, but as the new UI comes along or the Maelstrom physical damage system rolls out, that ship would then need another new pass to get all these new systems involved to become gold standard again. So essentially, gold standard is an ever-evolving state for ships and vehicles as they get new systems applied to them, until every ship has all of the final tech ready, which is more likely going to be around a 1.0 state. Now, the next question was about ship glass, which I presume they were asking why does it seem so tough and unbreakable. And it was said that the glass used on ships is extra tough, like a transparent metal, for example, so there is no real need for things like retractable canopies. But they did say that the Karak's retractable canopy will add additional protection, but there won't be much difference between. Now, they didn't explain what that additional protection will be, so I think it's a prime example of how a game evolves and changes through the years, and how going from concept to in-game can change things as well. Now, the canopy for the Karak has probably become more of a rule of cool than being an essential item, as they don't want players getting headshotted while in the pilot seat, which is why we have very tough glass, which did actually happen quite often. I think in some very early Arena Commander builds, people were getting headshotted. So having a protective canopy like we see with the Fury or the Drake Cutter is not really going to be of any use, which is a shame, as I do love using them. It feels very cool when I deploy my cutter's protective sides, but maybe in the future they could find a way of having it do something. Like with the Karak, for example, I think it would be kind of cool maybe having it to help protect against various elements that you could be exposed to while exploring dangerous areas of space, because it's an exploration ship. rather than it just protecting against, say, physical damage. But we will have to see where that goes. Now, when it comes to getting food and whatnot on board of your ship, like food, drinks, ammo and supplies, it was said that the larger ships will have multiple points inside where you will be able to load these resources, kind of like a feeding spot for the ship, where you put in the required resources and the ship will then distribute it on its own. Now, this question has popped up from time to time, as people were worried that they would have to spend time filling up their ship's pantries by hand, which you will be able to do if you want to, but there will also be an automated way, so all you will have to do really is just choose what you want via the shipping terminals, and then pay for it, and then the game will do the rest. Now, for ship scanners, it was asked whether ships will be able to scan 4 people, but they say there are no concrete plans just yet to allow this, and it will be more about the ability of the radar, and where certain specific radars may be capable of doing so. Now, there is a bit more to unpack about this answer. Firstly, I don't know if it was specifically referring to scanning your own ship to see who's on board, which I think it was said somewhat in the past that FPS scanners may be able to detect players on board ships, although they did have a very old prototype of a sort of internal ship panel which shows life signs on board ships, so hopefully they could tie this in with the local area map and kind of show you that way. That would be kind of cool. But when it comes to scanners and radars, and being able to scan the location or an external location for potential players or NPCs, what we will see in the not too distant future are scanners and radars for each ship becoming more bespoke to suit that vehicle's role. For example, the Prospector will have a scanner by default that is providing more information about what is mineable, whereas the Vulture scanners will show you various aspects to aid in salvaging. And the same applies for combat ships versus others. Information provided by the scanner and radar will be contextual to that ship's role. Not to say you won't be able to swap out or upgrade to other or better scanners. That will very likely happen too, but for me, it's highly likely that for things like the medical or search and rescue ships, or even potentially FPS scanners or dedicated handheld scanners, where having the ability to detect players and NPCs would certainly be a good idea. Now, next up, someone asked whether there would be a Crusader starter ship. I'm sure a lot of people would like to know that. And it was said that the goal is to have a starter ship option for every manufacturer, even hinting about the potential CitizenCon reveal for a new starter ship that could be from Crusader, but of course this is not confirmed, so take it with a pinch of salt. Now, personally, I love the idea of every ship manufacturer having an option to some degree, which this would give each player a wide choice and allow for more sort of brand appreciation. But do note, however many ships and vehicles that there are available now, this number will continue to grow throughout not just Star Citizen's development, but after release, after 1.0, and throughout its lifetime. So there is going to be a monstrous amount of vehicles continuing to release. That will not stop. Now, someone asked whether ships will be buoyant, so being able to float in water, and they certainly don't want ships to just explode when on water. They do want them to float, be that full ships or pieces of ships. In fact, they do plan on having shipwrecks with a lot of gameplay and stuff associated with being on top of water or underwater. But they also said there are no plans in the near future for ships designed to float on water, nor for boats in the persistent universe. Now, this doesn't mean that we won't see actual boat-like vehicles in the PU ever, just that they are not planning on working on them anytime soon, which does make perfect sense. It's a shame, as I would love a boat right now in Star Citizen, for no other reason than just floating around Harper's Point. But it was said a while back that chances are they wouldn't make spaceships capable of boat-like behaviors, other than being able to float on water, nor capable of going underwater, as the pressures of space versus underwater are very different, and they are not designed to do that. But it is very likely in the future that we will see boats. I mean, we know there is one in Squadron 42, they have boat physics, plus submersibles, I think, are very likely, but yeah, just don't expect them anytime soon. Now, someone asked about the MISC Raptor, which is the April Fool's reveal, which is an actual vehicle, but currently it's only a Squadron 42 background asset, so it is an actual vehicle that NPCs will be driving around in the background. And chances are we will see that come into the PU as well at various locations, sweeping up around landing zones and so forth, either just to give the impression that places are getting cleaned, but whether it's a vehicle that players can use or not is yet to be confirmed. I really hope so, and I do expect so, but at this time, we have no confirmation or denial. Now, other bits of information that were mentioned during this Q&A was that there should be more playtests for Pyro before CitizenCon, which does make sense, as we know they are still aiming to release 4.0 being static server meshing, Pyro and jump points around Q3. Chances are it'll release around or just after or even for CitizenCon, but the tech preview channel will allow for multiple different types of tests like we're seeing with server meshing. They will most definitely do another jump point test, a Pyro test. Now moving on to the Banu Merchantman, no one is currently working on the BMM as it was stated at CitizenCon last year, and it isn't possible to just take parts and materials from the Defender and scale it up for whatever reason. It's just not possible for the BMM. Now, it was also said during CitizenCon that the work on the Banu Merchantman will pick up again when they have enough senior members of the team available to work on it, as it needs someone with a lot of experience because it is a flagship vessel for the Banu itself. It isn't just a simple case of putting a ship together where they have a lot of kits and assets available. It is being created as they go, so it needs a lot of experience, the narrative team as well to help with it. And of course it will pick up again. Hopefully they are continuing to grow their ship team resources, but as more of the members of the ship team, the new members, come along, they will gain experience and go from being junior members to being senior members, learning the systems and the methods. So hopefully as more of those gain the experience, more resources will be available to work on the BMM when the time is ready. And for the Polaris, they say they are very happy with its interior. The engine room is currently getting done, which is very different to the concepts, they say, and John Crew's favourite location inside the Polaris is the torpedo room. And further talking about torpedoes, these will be loaded via a track similar to those found in the distribution centres, but they will be expensive, especially since they are size 10. Now finally, Aaron Roberts states that the meshing testing going on is a positive sign for Pyro this year, as it is planned, plus Xylo states that the change of Alpha 323.2 to Alpha 324 does not change the release goal of 4.0. So there you go, that was all the information taken from the recent Q&A at the Taipei Bar Citizen. Again, a big thank you to Erad Prime for gathering and sharing that information. Don't forget, we have a Gattax Sulen LTI game package giveaway currently underway. All you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is be a subscriber first and foremost here on my YouTube channel and comment on any video that I release between Sunday the 21st of June and Sunday the 30th of June, and I will pick a comment at random and then get in contact with the winner. But with that said, if you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. Also, come and hang out over at twitch.tv/SuperMacBrother. You are all more than welcome, whether you are a new backer or a veteran backer. I stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays between 2 and 6 PM BST. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, it does the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you'd like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, a huge thank you to my patrons and channel members. Cannot do this without you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.